Afternoon. I'm Scott Burkey. I'm the Principal XR Product Manager for WestRock. And let's see. Today I'm going to talk about a couple of things. Who cares? We'll get to that. Let's start off talking a little bit about WestRock. Everyone goes, WestRock, what is that, right? So if you remember Rock 10, the paper company, and Mead WestVaco, in 2016, Mead WestVaco and Rock 10 merged and formed WestRock. We currently have over 300 mills and manufacturing and converting facilities globally. We are on every continent except Antarctica, because who wants to do that? So we're taking trees and post-consumer products and turning them into paper, paper into products. We also manufacture machinery and retail displays. So we're a big paper company doing packaging for the consumer markets and corrugated. A lot of pizza boxes. You're welcome. XR at WestRock. So 3 years ago, I came to WestRock. I was working for the NBA, the National Basketball Association, putting basketball games in headsets for people that do that sort of thing, right? And so I came to WestRock, my first job in manufacturing. I'm so new in manufacturing. When I first heard asset utilization, I thought it was a made-up term. And then I discovered this morning from you guys, it's not made up. We're all doing that. I'm like, good, so I'm with the right people. We currently have a large asset utilization program at play. At WestRock, we're doing a lot of different things. We're putting technology on the heads, in the hands of factory workers. Big thing that we do. We're currently, someone was asking me, out of our 300 factories, how many we're doing XR in. I would say in the last 2.5 years, we're probably at about the 150, about the halfway mark with some sort of extended reality technology. So we're definitely working to scale out, and that proves to be, as many of you know, the toughest thing, right, is you can do it great once, but doing it the second through the 300th time, that's the trick. We do a lot of remote training and support for our customers who purchase our machinery and for our operators on the factory floor. We do 360 tours of our factories so that our salespeople can show our prospective customers the inside of our facilities. Auditors can come into our facilities without having to physically come in. And we do training in 360 as well, using 360-degree videos and images. We do virtual reality for training and for collaboration. Different platforms like the Wild or Microsoft Mesh in some instances where we can have multiple people collaborating in a virtual space. I'll tell you something interesting. When I came to WestRock 3 years ago, they were putting the Oculus Quest on the factory floor and saying, this doesn't feel right. I'm like, it's because it's exactly not right. Stop doing that, right? We're not taking virtual reality out onto a manufacturing floor. God help us if safety finds out you're trying to do that. So we got that corrected. We got virtual reality into a training room, into a conference room where it belongs, and we do use augmented reality out on the factory floor to gain efficiencies in operations and keep our factory workers safe while doing so. Finally, another big thing that we do is we do a lot of, think about consumer packaging, right? We put our products, our retail displays and products, packaging products, into AR and VR for our customers to be able to do design iterations with us. So if you want to see what the display is going to look like in a retail environment, you can do so in AR and let us know, hey, that's too high, the glass is too dark, whatever the case may be. So we do a lot of immersive product design iterations with our customers. So we got a lot of stuff going on. Here's what I'm seeing in the industry thus far, right? So when I talk to my peers, people who are doing my job in other manufacturing companies, I'm seeing that we're doing a lot of pushing content from, not bad, but we're pushing a lot of content to factory workers from repositories. We're taking information from 3-ring binders, digitizing it, and pushing it to the factory floor, converting paper to digital instructions. We're providing reference materials, right? Because that factory worker doesn't always need to know the entire process, just the settings in step 7. And so we want to provide that on the head, in the hands of the factory workers when and where they need it in a way that's easy to consume. We do a ton of remote expert calls. Certainly during the pandemic, Remote Expert was a great thing to have. Went through the roof. It was crazy, like a lot of you saw, with travel bans and that sort of thing. So we started doing a lot of Remote Expert calls. One of the things that I've found, it was in a presentation earlier, and Katie Zacharias from Microsoft talked a little bit about this recently today, about how if you're going to step into XR and you're wondering, how do I just kind of get my feet wet, or what's a good first step? I always say Remote Expert is a great way to step into XR because it gets people familiar with the devices, it brings value, and you're going to build some rapport, and then you can start getting into digital work instructions and more complex things. But I'm a big fan of Remote Expert. It in and of itself, not super tough to do, not super expensive, brings value. We do a lot of it. VR training in classrooms, a lot of that happening with static content, right? There's a lot of, I see a lot of, and we've done this as well. If I had $1 for every dollar we've wasted on things in the last couple of years, I'd be a millionaire. But we've built virtual reality content to train someone how to do something dangerous, risky, and expensive. By the time we get the training experience built and deployed to the VR headsets, it's already changed. The machine's changed, new model, that sort of thing. So we are doing virtual reality training in training rooms, in classrooms. Certainly not the lion's share of what we do in manufacturing, but I do see a lot of it out there. There's a lot of 360 going on out there. Think home tours. You can look around as you navigate through a home, but in a factory. If you're into that, there you go. Now, we also do 360 training. So during that training experience, you can click on and expand and get more information about a machine or a component. You can answer questions, perhaps take a recertification quiz or something like that. So there's a lot of cool things you can do with 360 with a $300 camera and a tripod and some software. Analytics. There's a lot of analytics, different capabilities out there. One of the things that I'm seeing is that analytics, dashboards and call logs and these sorts of things, certainly out there, certainly the case where my friends and I, right, are talking about how we're not really using them properly. If you've got all this data but you don't know how to interpret it, how to impact, changes in your processes or in your business as a result of what the analytics are telling you, it's just data in a table or a database somewhere. One of the things I did want to call out was that Augmenteer's here as well. We use Augmenteer. Augmenteer provides a great AI engine inside their platform that starts to give you some help with the decisions you might want to make with regards to modifying how you are setting up your digital work instructions for your factory workers. So this is all good. We're doing a lot of good stuff in AR, in XR, laying the groundwork, getting the Wi-Fi in place, getting the devices in the hands and on the heads of factory workers, getting the software kinks worked out, getting the licensing set up, building the content. But what I wanted to just share with you guys real quick before the next speaker is I want to talk a little bit about some of the next things that I'm seeing that we're starting to look at. Now, if you're looking at this going, man, we're only doing one of those, or we're not doing any of that, it's okay, absolutely okay, right? There's still time. It's not going away. But if you're doing these and you're going, all right, what should we be doing next? I wanted to share with you guys some of the things that I'm seeing that are possible. So once you start to get the technology in place, with some incremental modifications and enhancements, you can start to do some different things, right? So one of those is user-generated content in your factories. So once we put tablets in the factories and started pushing content to our factory workers, they started saying, hey, but how do we communicate with each other? How do I put a digital AR sticky note on a machine so that the third shift or the fourth shift can consume that and see what it is I need them to fix on their shift? Or how do I drop a sticky note on a machine to let someone in the overnight shift know, hey, watch this machine. It's been running kind of wonky. That's a technical term. So we're starting to get into a little bit of that. And this is actually one of our mills and some of our employees that I got permission from every single one of them to use their image in this presentation. Trust me. We're also seeing that through some of these same platforms that we're putting in place, we have the ability to see real-time machine data. We can have mixed reality devices like a HoloLens 2 I'm a big fan of, or a Trimble XR10, like this big gentleman in the middle here's wearing with the hard hat and the HoloLens 2 visor. You can start to get real-time machine data down into the operator's field of view. So it's no longer the case they have to run to a laptop somewhere or to an HMI and go get that information. They can have it in their field of view on the factory floor. So this gets out there a little bit, but we're also starting to experiment and starting to see some cases in manufacturing where you can interact with the machine through XR. So not just receive machine data, but also modify something in extended reality and then make a change to the speed or temperature or processes of that machine. Don't ask me to prove that we're doing that because I'm not going to do it, but it's there. We're starting to dip our toes in that. Data visualization is something that's huge. If you guys use Pi systems, you've got Pi data. We're doing a fair amount of, instead of having data in an office on a laptop and no one can find the charging cable for the dang laptop, right, in the factory, we're taking that data and putting it in a browser window in the HoloLens and allowing operators to take that out on the factory floor with them as they're walking through, right? So that was a relatively easy one, and I would challenge you that if that's something you want to do, you don't know yet how to do, talk to your vendors, reach out to one of us that's doing it. Happy to help. One of the things that we started doing recently as well is we've got these guys and gals running around in factories wearing cameras and processors on their head, right? We have the ability to put these operators to work for us. And what that means is that there's platforms out there that will allow you to automatically capture images when a worker gets near or in a geolocation. So if you want to capture a picture over time of a leak or a machine, or capture video, audio of a machine, we can set this up to where every time a worker wearing a real wear or an HL2 walks within that area, go ahead and capture a picture. Catalog that, we can look at it, analyze that data over time, and see if we're starting to have problems. So there's some neat stuff that's happening and starting to happen. This is a great time in manufacturing to be in extended reality. I'm having a blast, and I hope that you guys are dipping your toe in the water, starting to experience some value proposition from the use of XR. I want to thank you guys and encourage you that if you're new starting out, there's a lot of resources out there. Quick plug for the XR at Work podcast on YouTube. It's for beginning practitioners in XR. You might want to check that out. There's also a group called XR at Work on LinkedIn. And be sure you hit that like and subscribe because that's my podcast. That's it. Thanks.